Why China will invade Taiwan within the next 5 years. On March 22, 2023, the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken supported a U.S. intelligence chief's assessment that China may be capable of invading Taiwan by 2027. This aligns with earlier expressions of concern made by Michael McCaul, the newly appointed chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee in the U.S. House of Representatives, regarding the likelihood of conflict between China and Taiwan in the Indo-Pacific region, as stated during an interview with Fox News earlier this year. Adding to the concern, Air Force General Mike Minihan, commanding the Air Mobility Command, has recently issued a memo predicting that the United States may engage in a war with China in the next 2 years. Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas has publicly endorsed General Minihan's prediction, emphasizing the importance of readiness and responsiveness in the face of growing Chinese aggression, while also acknowledging the need for bureaucratic adjustments. Meanwhile, China's foreign ministry has reported over 10 instances of U.S. balloons flying into Chinese airspace over the past year, following an incident on February 4th when the U.S. shot down a suspected spy balloon in its own airspace, which China claimed was one of its weather balloons. Amidst rising tensions between the United States and China regarding Taiwan, this video represents a comprehensive analysis of 5 reasons why China may launch an invasion of Taiwan. In addition, the comments made by members of the Chinese military and government, as well as the responses from the U.S. military and its government towards potential military action, will be examined in detail. 5 possible reasons why China will invade Taiwan. As tensions between China and Taiwan continue to escalate, many are wondering whether China will invade Taiwan in the near future. Here are 5 reasons why China may be considering such a move. Nationalism. Nationalism is a powerful force in China, and the reunification of Taiwan with the mainland has long been a key goal for many Chinese leaders. Chinese officials often refer to Taiwan as a renegade province that must be brought back into the fold of the motherland. In recent years, President Xi Jinping has repeatedly emphasized the importance of this goal, declaring that reunification is inevitable and that China will not renounce the use of force to achieve it. Military buildup. Over the past few decades, China has been rapidly modernizing its military, investing heavily in advanced weapon systems and building up its naval and air forces. This buildup has been focused on projecting power into the Western Pacific, where Taiwan is located. China has also conducted military exercises simulating an invasion of Taiwan and has increased its military presence in the region. U.S. support for Taiwan. The United States has long been a strong supporter of Taiwan, providing it with diplomatic and military aid. In recent years, this support has become more overt, with the U.S. Congress passing legislation in support of Taiwan and senior U.S. officials making high-profile visits to the island. From China's perspective, this amounts to meddling in its internal affairs and a threat to its national security. Strategic importance. Taiwan is strategically located in the Western Pacific, and its ports and airfields could be used to project military power in the region. In addition, Taiwan is a major producer of advanced technology, including semiconductors, which are vital to China's high-tech industries. Control over Taiwan would give China a significant strategic advantage. American involvement. The United States has promised to defend Taiwan against any Chinese aggression, and this has been a major deterrent to China's plans to reunify Taiwan with the mainland. However, the U.S.-China relationship has been deteriorating in recent years, and the U.S. has been increasingly vocal about its support for Taiwan. The U.S. has been selling weapons to Taiwan, and U.S. officials have been visiting Taiwan to show their support. This has angered China, and it sees the U.S. involvement in Taiwan as an interference in its internal affairs. Exploring some addressing comments made towards military actions by Chinese and U.S. officials. During the annual session of Parliament in Beijing this March, Chinese leader Xi Jinping referred to the United States, accusing it of leading Western countries in efforts to encircle and suppress China. He emphasized that Western countries led by the United States have implemented a policy of comprehensive containment, encirclement, and suppression against China, leading to unprecedented and severe challenges to the country's development. Xi's remarks are indicative of the tension in the relationship between the two superpowers. On Tuesday, the 21st of March, China's Foreign Minister Qin Gang criticized the United States for its policies on China, Taiwan, the Indo-Pacific, and Ukraine. Qin slammed the recent string of interest rate hikes by the U.S. Federal Reserve, designed to curb inflation at home, for creating debt crises in other countries. He accused the U.S. of practicing all-round containment and suppression against China, a zero-sum game of life and death, despite its claims of competing to win with China without seeking conflict. Qin also pointed out the inconsistency in the U.S. approach toward sovereignty and territorial integrity, asking why the U.S. requests China not to provide weapons to Russia while it keeps selling arms to Taiwan, a self-governed island that Beijing regards as part of China. The Biden administration has repeatedly emphasized its intention to compete with China and has called for dialogue to establish guardrails around the relationship to prevent it from escalating into conflict. Qin dismissed U.S. demands as unreasonable, claiming that the U.S. seeks to require China not to fight back when hit or scolded, which he argues is impossible. Qin blamed the deterioration in China-U.S. relations on Washington and emphasized that it was incumbent upon the United States to change course. He warned that if the United States continues to speed down the wrong path and does not hit the brakes, no amount of guardrails can prevent a conflict and confrontation, and it's vital for the United States to take responsibility for turning things around. During closed-door talks with Filipino officials in Manila on Thursday, Chinese diplomats expressed their strong opposition to an expanded U.S. military presence in the Philippines. According to a Filipino official, responding to the Philippine decision, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin said that defense cooperation between countries should contribute to regional peace and stability and not harm the interests of any third party. Without naming the Philippines, Wang also warned countries in the region to remain vigilant and avoid being coerced or used by the U.S. A recent statement from the Chinese embassy in Manila was even more direct, warning that Manila's security cooperation with Washington will drag the Philippines into the abyss of geopolitical strife and damage its economic development at the end of the day. The Chinese military has claimed that it drove away a U.S. warship after it illegally sailed near the disputed Paracel Islands in the South China Sea. The USS Milius, an Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer, illegally broke into the waters around the archipelago without the Chinese government's approval, the People's Liberation Army said on Thursday, March 23rd. Chinese Sea and Air Forces followed, monitored, and issued warnings to the U.S. warship, driving it away from the area, the PLA Southern Theater Command said, describing the passage as undermining peace and stability. It added that its troops will maintain a high level of alert at all times and take all necessary measures to resolutely safeguard national sovereignty and security, as well as peace and stability in the South China Sea. However, the United States Navy rejected the Chinese claims, stating that the USS Milius was conducting routine operations in the South China Sea and was not expelled. The U.S. Navy's 7th Fleet reaffirmed that the United States will continue to fly, sail, and operate wherever international law allows, as geopolitical tensions between the United States and China continue to simmer. Chinese officials have been vocal about their stance on Taiwan, often referring to the island as a renegade province that must be reintegrated into the Chinese mainland. Chinese President Xi Jinping has also emphasized the importance of reunification, stating that it is inevitable and that China will not hesitate to use force to achieve it if necessary. The increased military exercises carried out by China in the region have only added to the growing concerns of a potential conflict. In light of recent developments, the likelihood of a Chinese invasion of Taiwan may be sooner than initially speculated by U.S. intelligence officials, particularly if efforts are not made to mitigate the escalating tensions.